Hey, welcome to my channel. So I wanted to do something a little different today. I'm sitting here reading to my baby and her babies. So I thought, what a cool idea. While I'm reading to her, I can read to you. So we're reading horror stories because I am a horror buff. Sorry my hair looks so crazy. It's one of those days. I just don't care day. Anyways. So I'm reading her these stories, and I found some really, really interesting ones that I have not heard 100 times on Reddit or on YouTube. These are from Reddit, and they're pretty good. So this one is by Mean Pete. Make sure I got the volume up. Come on, baby. Come on, you ready? It's called Hell. You want to say hi? You want to go sit with your babies? It's called Hell. There was no pearly gate. The only reason I knew I was in a cave was because I had just passed the entrance. The rock wall rose behind me with no ceiling in sight. I knew this was it. This was what religion talked about, what man feared. I had just entered the gate of hell. I felt the presence of the caves as if it was all living, breathing creature. The stench of rotten flesh overwhelmed me. Then there was the voice. It came from inside and all around. "Welcome. Who are you?" I asked, trying to keep my composure. You know, the thing answered. I did know. "You are the devil," I stuttered, quickly losing my composure. "Why me? I've lived as good as I could." The silence took over the space as my words died out. It seemed like an hour went by before the response came. "What did you expect?" The voice was penetrating but patient. "I don't know. I never believed in any of this," I uttered. "Is that why I am here?" Silence. I continued. "They say the greatest trick you ever pulled was convincing the world you don't exist." "No, the greatest trick I ever pulled was convincing the world that there is an alternative. There is no God." I shivered. The cave trembled with the words, "I am God." Okay, I love that. I just love that story. That is great. If you hear the squeaky noises, it's the babies. They're here with mommy, and they're getting their feeding right now. Everybody's doing great. So let's see. Let's do the other one. Let me go back to the other one. I liked it pretty well. It was called, I think it was called This Old House. Okay, here's another one. My Daughter Learned to Count by Real Science 87. My daughter woke me up around 11:50 last night. My wife and I picked her up from her friend Sally's birthday party, brought her home, and put her to bed. My wife went into the bedroom to read while I fell asleep watching the Braves game. "Daddy," she whispered, tugging my shirt sleeve, "guess how old I'm going to be next month?" "I don't know, beauty," I said as I slipped my glasses on. "How old?" She smiled up at me. She smiled and held up 4 fingers. "It is 7:30 now. My wife and I have been up for almost 8 hours. She still refuses to tell us where she got them. This one, I'm going to do Seeing Red eventually, but I wanted to go back to, this New Old House by Batuto Hell 821. We bought an old house, my boyfriend and I. He's in charge of the new construction, converting the kitchen into the master bedroom, for instance, while I'm on wallpaper removal duty. The previous owner papered every wall and ceiling. Removing it is brutal, but oddly satisfying. The best feeling is getting a long peel similar to your skin when you're peeling from a sunburn. I don't know about you, but I kind of make a game of peeling, on the hunt for the longest piece before it rips. Under a corner section of paper in every room is a person's name and a date. Curiosity got the best of me one night when I Googled one of the names and discovered the person was actually a missing person. the missing date matching the date under the wallpaper. The next day, I made a list of all the names and dates. Sure enough, each name was for a missing person with dates to match. We notified the police, who naturally sent out the crime scene team. I overheard one text say, "Yep, it's human." Human? What's human? Ma'am, where is the material you removed from the walls already? This isn't wallpaper you were removing. Next one is called I Hate It When My Brother Charlie Has to Go Away, by Horror in Pure Form. I hate it when my brother Charlie has to go away. My parents constantly try to explain to me how sick he is, that I am lucky for having a brain where all the chemicals flow properly to their destinations like undammed rivers. When I complain about how bored I am without a little brother to play with, they try to make me feel bad by pointing out that his boredom likely far surpasses mine, considering his fine. Oh, sorry, I'm having issues reading right now. Some of these words are misspelled, so it throws me off a little bit because my brain tries to autocorrect it. When I complain about how bored I am without a little brother to play with, they try to make me feel bad by pointing out that his boredom likely far surpasses mine, considering he's confined to a dark room in an institution. I always beg for them to give him one last chance. Of course, they did it first. Charlie has been back home several times, each shorter in duration than the last. Every time without fail, it all starts again. The neighborhood cats with gouged out eyes showing up in his toy chest. My dad's razors found dropped on the baby slide in the park across the street. Mom's vitamins replaced by bits of dishwasher tablets. My parents are hesitant now, using last chances sparingly. They say his disorder makes him charming, makes it easy for him to fake normalcy, and to trick the doctors who care for him into thinking he is ready for rehabilitation. That I will just have to put up with my boredom if it means staying safe from him. I hate it when Charlie has to go away. It makes me have to pretend to be good until he is back. Love it. This one is called, let me see, okay. I think I'm gonna do Seeing Red. What, baby? She's trying to get her babies warm. When they whine, she starts whining. Okay. Let's see. Could do Guardians. Okay, Guardians by Dark Alligator. He awoke to the huge, insect-like creatures looming over his bed and screamed his lungs out. They hastily left the room, and he stayed up all night, shaking and wondering if it had been a dream. The next morning, there was a tap on the door. Gathering his courage, he opened it up to see one of them gently place a plate filled with fried breakfast on the floor, then retreat to a safe distance. Bewildered, he accepted the gift, the creatures cheerily excited. This happened every day for weeks. At first, he was worried. They were fattening him up. But after a particularly greasy breakfast left him clutching his chest from heartburn, they were replaced with fresh fruit. As well as cooking, they poured hot steamy baths for him and even tucked him in when he went to bed. It was bizarre. One night he awoke to gunshots and screaming. He raced downstairs to find a decapitated burglar being devoured by the insects. He was sickened, but disposed of the remains as best he could. He knew they had just been protecting him. One morning the creatures wouldn't let him leave his room. He lay down confused but trusting as they ushered him back into bed. Whatever their motives, they weren't going to hurt him. Hours later, a burning pain spread throughout his body. It felt like his stomach was filled with razor wire. The insects chittered as he spasmed and moaned. It was only when he felt a terrible, squirming feeling beneath his skin that he realized the insects hadn't been protecting him. They had been protecting their young. See, she's getting her babies cleaned up. That is so sweet. I love it. Oh, she's she's giving them a bath. She's such a good mommy. She's a good mommy. Let's see if we got another short one. I could just save it for the next video, possibly. The Perfect Plan by Hunt Frog. On Monday, I came up with the perfect plan. No one even knew we were friends. On Tuesday, he stole the gun from his dad. On Wednesday, we decided to make our move during the following day's prep rally. Thursday, while the entire school was in the gym, we waited outside the doors. I was to use the gun on whoever walked out first. Then he would take the gun and go into the gym blasting. I walked up to Mr. Quinn, the guidance counselor, and shot him in the face 3 times. He fell back into the gym dead. The shots were deafening. We heard screams in the auditorium. No one could see us yet. I handed him the gun and whispered, "Your turn." He ran into the gym and started firing. I followed a moment after. He hadn't hit anyone yet. Kids were scrambling and hiding. It was mayhem. I ran up behind him and tackled him. We struggled. I wrenched the gun out of his hands, turned it on him, and killed him. I closed his mouth forever. On Friday, I was anointed a hero. It was indeed the perfect plan. Whoa. Gosh. That one little baby is making all that fuss. He's climbing her like a mountain. That is too cute. I may do Warrior of God by KMA Park. I may do that next, depending on how much time I have. I've got to get back to work. Warrior of God. Let's just go ahead and do it. If God exists, why is there so much evil in the world? It's a common question, but it is misplaced. All things must have balance, light and dark, good and evil, sound and silence. Without one, the other cannot exist. So if that's true, then God does nothing to fight evil? That might be your follow-up question. Of course he fights evil, relentlessly. I am Dardalian, one of his most holy and righteous angels. I roam the earth disposing of evil wherever I find it. I kill the monsters you don't ever want to know about. I crush them completely so you can sleep at night. You humans have no idea how many of you live because of the work I do. But what about Stalin, Hitler, Ted Bundy, Jack the Ripper? Well, those are the minor ones I had to let live for balance. The ones I destroy are too horrible and vile to survive. What's funny is while I would wager you never have heard the name Dardalian in any religious text, I bet you have heard of me. Americans, for example, have their own name for me, sudden infant death syndrome. Dang, that was deep. I want to do another video like this soon because I love reading and I love horror shorts and I love horror films. I love everything about horror. Okay, here's one. He Stood Against My Window by Sabbath Hook. I don't know why I looked up, but when I did, I saw him there. He stood against my window. His forehead rested against the glass, and his eyes were still and light, and he smiled a lipstick red, cartoonish grin, and he just stood there in my window. My wife was upstairs sleeping. My son was in his crib, and I couldn't move. I froze and watch him, looking past me through the glass. Oh, please, no. His smile never moved, but he put a hand up and slid it down the glass, watching me. With matted hair and yellow skin and face through the window, I couldn't do anything. I just stayed there, frozen, feet still in the bushes. I was pruning, looking into my home. He stood against my window. Well, we got a bunch more we can do. I want to save them for the next video. I got to get back to work. And this little baby is raising so much of a fuss right now trying to get to a booby. I hope you enjoyed the horror stories. I'm going to do some more. Like I said, I love the horror stories and videos. So if you like it and subscribe. If you want more, suggest anything to me. Thanks for watching.